Yeah, that's right. I see the chat. I see y'all rocking. I see y'all coming. Hit that like button as you enter the building. You know what I'm saying? Hit that like button. Show your love. Show your support. You know what I'm saying? This that dope soul. This that new thing. Nobody don't know about it.
Hello, Nick family. Welcome to the game recap on a Sunday. I'm your host, Stephanie, aka Queen, and I'm with Adjae. How you feeling?
Good morning, Queen. How are you? And salute to you. Salute to the chat. Salute to Knicks Nation. Another day, another post game, another win for the Knicks that we're happy to talk about.
Yeah, the Knicks are now 18 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
I still third in the Eastern Conference, and I think over their last 10, 8 and 2. So let's get into it. Not a pretty win for the Knicks, a gritty win, if you ask me. 12 turnovers in the first half. Towns picked up his third foul right early in the in the second quarter. I think New Orleans had lost 5 games coming in. So they were a pretty, desperate team. They've had a lot of injury issues, 17 different starting lineups this season alone. And it wasn't pretty for the Knicks, quite frankly, in that first half. But what's your overall take on the game?
Well, like you said, it wasn't a pretty game, but through the ups and downs, at the end of the day, uh, when the first half ended, I felt pretty good that this is a game we should win because everything was going right for them, for the Pelicans. uh the refs was letting everybody play on both sides, so it was called, they did a very good job yesterday. The refs, whatever they were calling one side, they were calling on the other side, and they tightened up in the second half on both ends as well. So everything was going for the Pels. And at the end of the day, when you look at the score at halftime, the Knicks were down by 4 points. Like, I mean, it really should have been 20 points if they were down, because we had a horrible first half, but we're only down by 4. So it was only a matter of time before either Cat stayed out of foul trouble and picked it up, or Jalen Brunson got on the burner and then, put the game away. We got nervous.
Super
Listen. No, but and I texted you. I texted yesterday. I said we're not gonna lose that game. Don't worry about it. In the middle of the game. So I'm not saying this after the game. I said that during the game. So, but yeah, they started the third quarter on I want to say like a 12 to 14 to 3 run, something crazy like that. You feel it slipping away, and then Jalen Brunson says there's a not tonight, and then you put the game away. So
Yeah,
which I mean, we had no people always say, well, we had no business being down to that team. Listen, they're NBA players. You could be down. Bottom line is you come back and you win the game. All right.
Yeah.
So they're professionals. They can play also, those guys.
Yeah. I think Towns getting into foul trouble through the Knicks off. He's a big part. I mean, it goes without saying that he's a big part of the team, but how we play pretty much runs through Towns. And he missed a game earlier this season. We lost that game. I just think we haven't quite yet figured out how to play without him. And I think what we saw last night is probably what's going to happen. If Towns can't play, if he gets into foul trouble, Brunson has to revert to last year. Now, I'm not saying, obviously he has better options, around him, but he has to be a bit more aggressive when Towns is out. And he did that last night. He had 10 points in the first half, 29 in the second half. And just really one of those games, one of those throwback performances where everything was falling for him. He was still passing, still hitting guys, off the double team. I thought he continued to read the game, but that increase in aggressiveness last night was exactly what we needed. And, Josh Hart, I followed Josh Hart a little bit. I watched the game again early this morning. He brings more, and I get it. It's such a super trade-off. It's a trade-off whether you're going to keep Hart in the starting lineup, whether you're going to bring Precious in the starting lineup. He's probably played the same amount of minutes regardless. So it may not be as big a deal as I'm making it out to be. but his role in that starting lineup is, he's basically the secondary ball handler, that playmaking. He just keeps the offense going, the ability to take a rebound and go coast to coast. He does a lot for us in that offense. If you just watch a quarter and just follow him, just follow what he does, he really does a lot. He was phenomenal for us again last night. He's having a career year statistically, but some of what he does doesn't even show up um, on the score sheet. Precious with just 12 points, 12 minutes last night. With Towns in foul trouble, what's your take on that?
That was a tremendous adjustment by Tom Thibodeau. When we watching the game, it looks like Precious was actually playing well, right? But when you step back a little bit, you realize he couldn't match their athleticism. So what did Tibbs do? He removed Precious and put Jericho Sims, and that made a huge difference in the game. Okay, Jericho Sims, I don't know if he scored anything, but
He did.
the athleticism that he came with, he was aggressive. He, on defense, he's more mobile. He's more switchable on defense, and he could go. He could do a better job than Precious. So Precious was having a good game, but then it was not what we needed because they were too athletic, and Precious couldn't match that. So by putting Jericho Sims, it made a big difference. He was out there, fighting for multiple times for the same rebound. He was altering shots. He was doing a lot of stuff that Precious probably would not have been able to do. So he gave us what we needed at that point. So that was a good move by the coaching staff to have Jericho Sim play more minutes than Precious at that point.
Yeah, I thought, and then also I think Towns could have came back in the game. And I think it was refreshing to see that, to your point, Sims was playing phenomenal, even though, I think it was 0 points, 8 rebounds, assists, or steals, something like that. But we say this about Sims a lot of what he does just doesn't show up on the stat sheet. His ability to recover on the pick and rolls, kind of like stop the drive, get back to his guy. He had 4 offensive rebounds last night and giving us, extra opportunities. He was really good. He was really good last night, and it was good to see him get the minutes behind Carl Anthony Towns, as opposed to Precious last night. Though I think Precious, I think Precious is switchable as well if he's playing a 4. I just think last night at the 5, Precious Sims was just playing well.
Yeah, because these guys, I mean, they came in hot. They came in super motivated. Their athleticism was off the chart in the first half. Like there's nothing you could do. Like I said, Precious was not having a bad game, but you just needed something different at that point in the game. And Jericho Sims, credit to him, he provided it. It was good to see the adjustment made, the in-game adjustment. Tibbs, he's not, people say that all the time. He's not great at in-game adjustment, but he made the adjustment yesterday. Cat was in foul trouble, so they pivoted to, Brunson, and Jalen Brunson, he was getting double teamed in the backcourt. Like, I mean, double teamed with big guys, like guys that are like, 6'8" inches taller than him. And somehow he figured out, they adjusted. He figured out pass out of double team. That means you get double team. That means you have a mismatch on the other side. Once you get out of that double team, it's a 4-3 game. So we're able to figure it out, and it worked. It works.
Yeah. I still would like us to schematically do something to make it easier for Brunson to get the ball up the court. I mean, every possession, it's a grind for him to get up the court against these taller, lengthier defenders. And he does it most times without turning the ball over, but it does take some time off of the clock as well. Josh Hart, Bridges, those guys can bring the ball up, the set a screen. We don't even set a screen for him. It's just like everybody just go, all right, you got it. I don't know. I'm I'm not feeling that. That's something that's been going on for a few years now. It's not something that I like, but doesn't seem like it's going to change. There may be a method to it that I just don't get. Um, quite frankly. But, kudos to Brunson. Just kind of showing that he's almost like an amoeba. Like, what do you
Right.
need? Yeah, what do you need? You know, Everybody else is hitting. I'm just gonna be, a distributor. I'll play off of those guys. Towns is in foul trouble. I gotta be a bit more aggressive tonight. And he said that. I'm not sure if it was post game or an article I was reading. He said, I just turned my aggression up just a little bit. And there's been times in this season during these first, I don't know what it is now, 28 games, where I felt like he could have been just a little bit more assertive. And last night he was phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, that's what leaders do, right? He gives what the team needs, and when it's time for him to take over, he takes over. When it's time for him to distribute and get the other guys involved, that's what he does. If that, whatever it takes to get the win. If on one night Cat can't miss from the 3-point line, keep feeding him, keep feeding the big men until it no longer works. That's what he's got to do.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
mean, I'm sorry, Dad.
No, I was gonna say you got guys cutting, being open under the basket, feed him the ball. We've seen that, many times. He doesn't have to shoot the ball. If that, he plays, the game dictates what he needs to do, and he follows. He does what he needs to do to get the win.
Yeah. Let's talk about Cat. Foul trouble. I know Tibbs said after the game he was going to take a look and see, is it how much of it is a lack of discipline, how much of it is just BS calls. Still had a double double, 11 points, 10 rebounds. Still hit a big three. I think it was in the third or fourth quarter. One thing I like about Cat is that he just has a workman's like mentality. You know, Good game, bad game. I'm just gonna do what I can do. He doesn't get mentally taken out of the game by foul trouble or poor shooting nights. Some really good passes um, as well. But I know we were talking before the show, and you would like Carl Anthony Towns not to drive the basket. I don't know if I hear what you say. Well, I'll let you say your thoughts.
And Queen, what I was saying, and I think we mentioned that in the Nick and It show the other day, right? We have to check the stats. That has to be his least successful stat, is when he drives the ball. I don't, that's what the eye test tell me. I don't know what the actual numbers are. Okay, there are many options with Cat, right? You could pick and roll, you could pick and pop, you could have him in the low post. You could run the offense through him at the top of the 3-point line. He let things settle. He passed, because he's a very good passer. He could distribute the ball, or he could shoot, just standing there over usually teams that don't have guys enough. Case in point, yesterday, there's nobody in New Orleans that could really check Cat. If he's playing, nobody's big enough on that team to check him. Okay. But for some reason, he keeps, when you drive to the lane, like, so many things can happen. And one of them, especially playing an NBA game with professionals, one of them is bound to happen. You're gonna get your pocket picked, you're gonna turn the ball over, you're gonna walk, you're gonna lower the shoulder, run into somebody, and if you actually make it to the rim, you land, you might get hurt. And every time Cat goes to he drives the ball, he lands on the floor. This is something, like I said to you, I would have him do like maybe 4 or 5 times a game just to keep the defense honest. But that wouldn't be a go-to move that I would use with Cat. Like, you do it just to let him know, when he has the ball, don't leave the lane wide open, because he'll drive. He can drive, but that wouldn't be my top option, because there's so many other options. And yesterday when you see him, I think he went in the post like maybe twice or maybe once, and he scored. And I'm like, why don't they go to that? Especially with a team like that. Yeah, these guys are athletic, but they're not big. You can't take those guys down low. But we just, that's what I would do if I was if I was part of the coaching staff. That's what I would suggest. You know, to try to avoid Cat driving to the basket, because something's bound to happen when you do that.
Yeah. I mean, there are driving statistics, how many drives a player takes per game, how many turnovers off drives, how many with their pass percentages off drives, field goal percentage off drives. Um, I hear you. I think more good things happen when he drives than not. But I hear you for the eye test. From the eye test, it looks like he's turning it over. He's risking injury. He's getting offensive fouls. Um, I'm not sure. Well, listen, I agree with you in terms of there are some teams where we have to do a better job of getting him in the post. And I think New Orleans was one of those teams. It was one of those teams. The recognition has to be there. He doesn't, I get it. He stays at the top. It does create space for us. We have cutting lanes. We have passing lanes. He's really good passing. He could shoot the three. He could drive. But it's okay to go in the post sometimes as well, because you can create an advantage there also. If he's hitting and there's no reason to believe he's not, they're going to have to double. Somebody is going to be open. So there's an opportunity also for him to pass out of the double teams and create opportunities as well. I'm okay with the driving. I just want them to mix it up. Not necessarily take that away, but I want them to mix it up more.
And I agree with that, Queen. I want them to mix it up, but I'm saying that cannot be the top one of the top plays. It just doesn't work, because it's not that it doesn't work. You have other options that work much better. You have like a higher percentage. Some games, this Karl Anthony Towns is shooting over 50% from three. Why isn't he just why are we just pick and pop until that percentage drop? Karl Anthony Towns, some games he's really hot from three. Listen, I want to see him shoot threes. When he's hitting him, I want to see him shoot him until he can't hit him no more. Then you put him in the post. Then you have him as a distributor. Then you have him as, different things. It can't be the first couple of plays of the game you have him drive down. He gets picked. He gets a foul. He trips and falls and all kind of stuff. It's just not smart basketball.
Yeah, I don't think it looks that way. I think if we were to take all of his drive possessions of the season, I'm not sure turnovers and offensive fouls would be the majority of the outcome on his drives. You have to read the defense. You have to keep the defense honest. I don't know if we disagree. I think it's just you probably want to take it out totally, and I just want to mix it up.
No, I don't want to take it out totally. I don't mind. Like I said, 3, 4, 5 times a game, fine, because you got to keep the defense guessing what you're gonna do. They can't know that, oh, he's never gonna drive, and then they set the defense because that's one more weapon you take away. No, you don't want to do that. You want to do that, like I said, fewer times. It can't be every time he gets the ball, he's trying to drive around somebody, and then he gets picked. So, no, I don't want to take it away. I just want to keep, more the other options are better. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, all right. All right, that's cool. Let's talk about the bench for a little bit. 6 points last night. Just a bad night, or another indication of just the anemic bench scoring?
Just a bad night. These guys can score. We know that. We've seen Deuce. Deuce been scoring 14, 16 points. Campaign been in double digits. They can score. It's just that's how the cookie crumbled last night. They didn't play. I don't know if they play a whole lot of minutes either, besides Jericho Sims. I didn't see. I'm not checking the minutes, but I don't remember seeing Deuce out there for a long period of time.
Deuce played 16 minutes.
16 minutes, right? Precious,
12.
Precious, not even 12 minutes. Campaign, probably
8 minutes.
There you go.
And Jericho was only 13. Jericho only played one more minute
Then Deuce.
than Precious.
Uh,
It didn't seem that. It didn't seem like that, though.
seems like he was out there a lot longer.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did less than
Yeah, yeah.
that.
Yeah, but it's just another bad night. So we don't, I mean, listen, we could use a little bit more scoring off the bench. But yeah, as we discussed in previous shows, scoring is not a problem with us. It's the defense, and it yesterday's game. So the defense, it's not so much that the defense picked up, right? But it did. In the second half, we were more aggressive, more active on defense. But also, very important, I know nobody want to mention the refs, but the refs have an impact on the game, right? Yesterday, they called the game right. In the first half, it was loose on both sides. But in the second half, they tightened the calls, right? The second on both sides, on either end of the court, they tightened the calls, and they were very consistent last night. But when on in the second half, when they got tight and they were calling all these fouls that Jalen Brunson wasn't getting in the first half, he was getting them in the second half. So their defense couldn't be as aggressive against him. That allowed him to get loose. That's all the refs have to do is set the tone, let both teams know how you're going to call it, and then everybody plays accordingly. Okay. And, Brunson was able to let loose because they were calling the game right, consistent, and everybody know how the game was being called. So
Yeah.
they did a great job last night.
Yeah. I think the Knicks defense is coming along. Now, again, this is New Orleans. This is New Orleans. But you can still see their process. I love the switching at the top between Hart, OG, and Bridges. Every game, just switch. So I like that. They were getting after it. They didn't give up with the 13-point lead. Like when Atlanta had that 10-point lead like 5-6 minutes, not 13, but like 7-point lead with 5. Like I looked at the Knicks, I didn't see any comeback. Even though they hit a shot to cut it within 6, I didn't see any energy that would lead me to believe that they would come back in that game. Last night was different, down 13, still playing hard. Like I said, switching up top. Sims super active all over, super active on the offensive boards, just fighting and grinding and trying to figure out a way to get a win with Cat in foul trouble. Right now, I haven't checked all of the defensive metrics, but as far as defensive rating right now, the Knicks are 13th. Now, the last 2 games, they held teams under 100, but, Orlando is not the last 2 games, maybe 2 out of the past 3. No, New Orleans is not a good team,
It's
So,
an NBA team, nevertheless.
yeah. But I mean, in terms of trying to get a good read on where the defense is, just from the eye test, it looks better. From the eye test, it looks better.
They
Fighting
climb.
over screens, when someone rotating over until the defender is able to get back to their guy, and it just looks better to the eye test. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get to the chat. I don't really have much to.
Oh, shout out to the chat, man. They, a Sunday morning, like, you guys are up already?
Right.
I
Right.
guess
Shout out to Gary Cox.
nobody went out and party last night, huh? With that little bit of snow, everybody got scared and stayed home.
Oh no, I was out. I went to see DJ Shuttle, who was at Ben's Crab. Is it Ben's Crab House or Ben's Crab in Valley Stream? And he killed it.
Yeah,
He
DJ Shuttle's
killed it
good.
last night. Yeah. So it was around 5 o'clock. It was kind of cold. I was like, I don't know about this. But I went, and man, what a vibe. What a vibe. The music was good. The food was good. The ambiance was good. Had a great time last night. Shout out to DJ Shuttle.
Yeah, shout out to him.
No
Yeah.
hyperbole. Some people are just good at what they do. And he's one of them.
Yeah.
He's one of them.
Shuttle's good, man. You listen to some of his mixtapes, the stuff from the old school stuff he does,
Yeah.
man. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff, man.
Yeah. If you're like 80s, 90s, 2000s music, and he played some, current music as well.
Mhm.
But that vibe, man. And then he threw in some club classics. Nice. Just a nice vibe. Shout out to DJ. Shout out to Josh, aka Uncle Fulio, in the house. He said Sims does not get enough credit for the defender that he is in the pick and roll. Absolutely. Yeah.
Queen. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I want to address something real quick. Shout out to
Mhm.
SN6 says, disagrees with me. If anything, the refs were frustrating. They need to be consistent. They can't change manners. But they do. They do. They actually go into halftime, and you could hear the guys tell you in the broadcast. They probably talked about it at halftime and say, "Listen, we got to take control of the game." But they do, because they would come in, and that literally happens half NBA games. These guys, they go in at halftime, say, "Guys, we letting some of these ticky tack out. We calling him too tight, or we calling too loose." They do that all the time. Yeah, I don't know if you call that inconsistent. But that's just part of the game. And yesterday was a case of where the first half was called away, and the second half was called a different way. I mean, it was clear that they changed the way they called the game at halftime, and the players just have to adjust. So,
Okay.
unfortunately, that's how they do it. That's part of it.
All right. Shout out to Miguel P. Appreciate you. Space Ghost, appreciate you. Lady in the Shaft from Two Knicks Chicks, appreciate you. They go on at 11. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. All you have to do is go to the search bar in YouTube and put in
Knicks
number
chick.
2, Knicks Chicks. They go on at 11. Tim Smith, appreciate you. Kareem Grant in the building. Kareem, I don't know if you said whether you're going to be at the Washington game, but I actually bought tickets to the Saturday game as well. So I'm going to be at both games in Washington, D.C.
Queen, I will be at the game on Saturday.
Oh, you will? Okay, so let's
Yes,
meet up
yes,
then.
let's meet up, because I definitely will be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mikkel P, so much for Brunson losing a step. Listen, I definitely was thinking, like, I don't know, the footwork ain't there. He doesn't seem the same. And last night definitely was a throwback for him. Salute to Wonder Woman. It's been a minute. Appreciate you joining us. Today, Sims wasn't bad at all last. You're gonna have to pull it out of Kerry Cox. He wasn't bad at all.
he's all right.
He's all right. Josh, teams have figured out that the best way to slow down Brunson is to put length on him, and I just think the Knicks need to do a better job freeing him up. He just shouldn't have to work that hard on every possession, and give us some more time on the clock. It just doesn't seem that hard to me. All right, Double D, I appreciate you. Parish Doug in the house, appreciate you. Your guy Sims was really good last night.
Yep.
Kev, co-host of Knicks Niche, top of the top to all. Salute to the panel. Appreciate you, Kev, for joining us. Kerry Cox again. Make sure you hit that like button.
Yep.
No doubt. Paris Duggar, play bigs with Cat. We dominate the boards and paint. We win most games. Well, we win most games already. We're 18-10. It's how many times he hits the floor on drives. This is salute Knicks 100 GM, referring to Cat in Adjae's comment. I know exactly what you're saying, Adjae. All right.
I
all right.
test.
How many in the chat
game?
feel like Cat should stop driving the ball? Stop
Queen,
driving the ball as
not
much
stop
as he does,
driving.
as much.
We don't want to stop driving.
Okay, all right. Give me time to clean it up. Stop driving as much as he does. How many drives does he take a game? I mean, it's probably like, what, 4?
He takes too many.
He takes
every time you see him drive, you're like,
let me know in the chat and on the replay gang if you feel like Towns should drive the ball less. All right. Reese Anderson, can we have more of this version of Jalen Brunson, please, going forward, when Brunson is more aggressive, then the whole team does better? I mean, I think he's trying to. I mean, the Knicks have been really good playing through Cat and Brunson picking his spots, whether to score, facilitate, just kind of reading the game and how it's going. I will say, though, I would like to see him better discern when he needs to be more aggressive, like quicker, quicker. Um, you know, we having a lull. We're not, hitting shots. All right, I got to be aggressive right here in the next 2, 3 possessions. Boom, boom, boom. You know, um, it's a work in progress. Appreciate you. Reset. I want to see last year's Brunson. That's it. Everybody else just have to figure it out. I want to see last year's Brunson. I appreciate you. Yo. Yeah, appreciate you
Good morning. Good morning.
joining us. Knicks 100. Precious did every single thing y'all ridiculous Sims about. Okay. All right. As much as I love J. Hart, Cat is more effective next to Precious. Not sure if this. I'm not sure if the stats bear that out. I think the sample size is kind of small, but listen, trust me, Thibodeau does lineups all the time. And if there needs to be a change, if he feels like the Knicks are going to be better with Precious in the lineup, Precious will be in the lineup because there's a give and take. You got to keep that in mind. You may gain something with Precious, but then also lose something with Precious. And so you got to kind of balance that out when you're making the decision.
Case in yesterday's game, Queen, for those who just joined us, we mentioned that Precious, even with Precious versus Jericho Sims was giving us something that Precious wasn't. And, Sims got more minutes last night. Of course, it's a combination of that and Cat being in foul trouble.
Right.
But he came through, with what we needed at that time. We needed athleticism. We need somebody to jump above the rim, grab those rebounds, alter shots and stuff. So he did all that. So kudos to the coaching staff for seeing that.
Yeah. 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 To me, it's not so much about who starts as much as it is having this roster rotation flexibility on your bench and Tibbs being able to deploy it when we need it, because you can have it and not use it, right? And you can not have it at all. I think when Mitchell Robinson comes back, if he's healthy, that's going to give us some more rotational flexibility. So we can go back and forth between who starts, who doesn't. I think it's more about how many possessions does a particular team get to play with each other, right? So whether Precious starts or not, how many possessions does he get to play with Cat? And just Thibodeau dialing it up, just kind of gauging what's going on in a particular game at a particular time and just having that flexibility and using it. So that's something for us to keep an eye on as we, go, as the season goes on, is Thibodeau using the flexibility that he has. And I thought last night he did. I think last night he rolled with the hot hand defensively. Sims was just doing a much better job on the defensive end, and he just let him cook. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Towns could have probably came back in the game. Right, and he still rolled with Sims. No,
yeah, he did. He could have. I mean, he had 3 fouls at halftime, but he barely played in the third quarter. He came back a little bit, a couple spare minutes, and listen, we were scoring, we were leading at that point, so it was like, do you really need to bring him back?
Yeah. Kerry Cox said, I wish I would have known. I should have put it on. I should have put it on X. 20 minutes away from Valley Street. Kerry Cox. We got to meet up at Ben's Crab. We got to meet up at Ben's Crab and talk Knicks. Mike Boy, the Knicks are about to score 160 on Toronto. Okay, all right. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. Knicks, oh man, this is like 3 shows in a row, Nick Nation 112. I appreciate you. Salute, salute, salute. Appreciate you dropping by.
Shout out to Jarrell, who's in the
Oh,
chat.
Jarrell is in the house?
What? Yeah.
Ah, salute. Nostalgic Nick, you sound like Jay Hart complaining to the refs. Okay. Salute, Jarrell. Oh,
So sorry. Did I? Oh, I was trying to click that, but I don't know if that's what you.
yeah, that's what I was.
Oh,
I think you clicked it and I clicked it. Got me up early talking about the Knicks. Salute to all my Dope Soul family. Appreciate you, my brother.
Salute, Jarrell.
Appreciate you. Oh my God, Jarrell and Kerry Cox. Sims looked playable. You don't want to give him his credit. He was good. He was good last night. He was good last night. And Jarrell said Cat should do whatever the hell he wants to do. Okay.
He wants to. That he's trying to. That we were talking about him driving. Say he wants to drive. Let him drive. That's basically what he's saying.
Knicks Nation 112. With Josh being back, we saw the ball more in Josh's hands than in Bridges. That's why I need Josh in the second unit. We need a player like Trish. From your lips to God ears, man. I like Trey Murphy coming out. The draft, I do agree. Knicks Nation 112. When Josh is in, Bridges, plays less.
He falls back
the ball.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a reason for it. You can argue that you can't use Josh guys to double if he's bringing the ball up, but he's shooting pretty good from 3 this year. So you have to respect him. But I did notice with Josh, and he's just another playmaker out there. And when he brings the ball up, now Bridges can space in the corner. Bridges can definitely play that role, but then you got Precious spacing in the corner. It's a little different dynamic, even though you're going to gain something on the defensive end. But again, I do think that Tom Thibodeau was looking at all of these lineups. And if he feels that, it's better for Precious to be in the lineup, he will make that change. I just think that the sample size is too small right now for him to get a good read on it. But yeah, I can see it happen. David L. Bryant, yes. Cat takes what the defense gives him. He drives past slower defenders or shoots the threes over them. Lane is open for Bridges and OG. I think he's fine. David, would you like to see him in the post more, though, against smaller defenders? Or do you think him spacing at the top is just much more important for how it opens things up for others? Particularly last night when, who was it? Messi was at center, who's really light, the rookie. Missy or Messi?
Missy.
What is it?
Missy,
who's really light. He was in foul trouble. That could have been the reason also why he doesn't have enough time to take advantage of it. Spacing and no clogged lanes here. That's where he's putting his vote. Why would Cap stop driving the ball? He's averaging 25-14 on 53% field goals. I'm gonna dive into the his driving stats. Just Knicks, appreciate you. All right. East Blue Drew, appreciate you. Why y'all never come to Flatbush? I mean, that's where I'm from. I actually grew up. I was not born, but raised in Flatbush. I just went where DJ Shuttle was. He's always sending me these invites, and this was the closest he's been. So I went there. In my opinion, we rebound better on the offensive end with Precious. Precious and Josh are bench players to me. We need an upgrade in the starting 5 that allows Bridges to be in his natural role for us. Okay. All right. You know what Sims was good? All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Mr. Papa Bottle, Knicks 100 a GM, Mitch the Pelicans is the most logical move. I mean, they may want to develop their young center and give him all the time and possessions he can handle on a team that doesn't seem to be going anywhere um, this time. Mikel P. Cat needs to drive a few times a game to keep the defense honest. So that he's in agreement with Adjae. With that, we don't need Herb Jones. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know. He doesn't shoot well though. He's shooting a little better this season from three. I like Herb Jones. I doubt they move Murphy as well. You can still play 5 out with Precious, a little bit. You know, he's not great from three, so his guy can roam a little bit. But the Knicks can get away with it. I think. All right. Anything else? I just want to.
Shout out to the chat real quick, man. Make sure you hit the like button, man. I know you wake up this early Sunday morning, hang out with us. Not because you don't like us. It's because you like us or you like the show. Right. So please let that reflect in your hitting that thumbs up on your screen.
Yeah. Just quickly through the box score. It's running through the banner. OG Anunoby last night, 16 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals. Didn't shoot well, just 35.3% from the field, 25% from the three-point line. But this guy defensively is just mad. If he gets a fingertip on the ball, it's gathered and he's going the other way.
Clean. He's like an octopus. It's like, wait, how many arms does this guy have? It's like all over the place, man.
Yeah.
And there was a possession where I think he had like maybe 2 or 3 pokes in that one. You know, he poked it. You know, the play grabbed it. They think they had it. They try to dribble the ball. He poked it again, and then poked it again further, like even further away from the guy. It was a tremendous defensive effort from him last night.
Yeah. Josh Hart, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, only 1 turnover. Only had 1 3-pointer last night of the 4 that he shot, and only hit 1 of 2 free throws. But I watched this guy specifically last night, what he does for us in terms of switchability, playmaking. It's phenomenal. I don't want to keep going over the same thing. He's just having a really good season. Karl-Anthony Towns, 11 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 fouls, 5 turnovers. He just has to be better. 3 for 10 from the field. He did hit all 3 of his free throws. Obviously, there's games like that where you get into foul trouble. I think I would have to look at the stats. I think he's in foul trouble less with us than he was last year. I think he's less offensive fouls this year. I think the past few years in Minnesota, he was leading the league, if not in total offensive rebounds and offensive fouls and offensive foul rate. But I think that's down considerably now from the eye test. But last night just wasn't good. Some of them, though, like that third foul, I don't know about that. Mikal Bridges, 18 points, no rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. But shot the ball well, 7 of 16. Not quite. 43.8% from the field, but hit some big shots for us. 3-pointers when we were trying to extend the lead. Brunson, 39 points, 6 assists, 2 steals. He did have 4 turnovers. I believe 3 of those was in the first half. But the efficiency, 68.4% from the field, 70% from the 3-point line. Went to the line 10 times. Took 10 3-pointers, made 7, and hit all 6 of his free throws. Just a throwback performance last night that led to a win. And then the bench, again, only 6 points, 2 for Precious, 2 for Miles McBride, 2 for Campaign. Not there, and they didn't shoot well. Precious was 1 for 4. Miles McBride was 1 for 6. Other than the last game in Minnesota, Miles McBride has been struggling a little bit with his shooting. All right. By the numbers, the Knicks were out rebounded by 3. It's pretty close all around. Even when you look at rebounding percentage, it was pretty close. 24 assists, 11 steals last night, 3 blocks, 16 turnovers, 12 of them in the first half. So they really cleaned that up in the second half, and they needed to. 43 point. They shot better than New Orleans. New Orleans had a really tough time in that second half, but 43.7% for overall, 40.5 from the 3-point line, and 86.7 from the field. Excuse me, from the free throw line.
Yeah.
Even points in the paint, they were plus. Second chance points, even fast break points, points off turnovers. I think they had 19. New Orleans had 23. But I think in the first half, if I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I think they had 21 points off turnovers in the first half, if I'm not mistaken. So the Knicks really cleaned that up. And this is a lead tracker, just a visual of the flow of the game. New Orleans, from the first quarter pretty much through the end of the third, had the lead, and then the Knicks just turned it up, led by Brunson. Really, really, really good game. Not a really good game, but just to see them just grind it out and get it. You're gonna have to win different ways. Every team is different. The flow of the game is going to be different. You just have to figure it out. And last night they did. All right, I want to get to the
And
super chat. Go ahead.
the difference I was gonna say is, obviously Jalen Brunson, right? We had a superstar and the best player on the court last night, and they didn't have a superstar. I mean, they played well as a team, but then when it was time to, for somebody to take the game over, they didn't have that person. We did, and that's why we won the game. Plain and simple.
Yeah, yeah. Shout out to the art man formerly known as Steve. Appreciate you. Knicks need a power forward, someone that comes in, rebounds, and hits the three. Not a hasty move. We're 18-10, better start than last year, and we haven't hit our stride. I agree with that. Team is still learning. Was learning. I would guess learning each other. Um, so you probably agree with. There was someone in the chat that said both Hart and Precious are really bench players. And so, to your point, the Knicks need a
Starting power forward.
starting power forward who can rebound and hit threes. Yeah, that's not OG, but he does so many other things. You can't really. Yeah, you can. I need him to rebound a little better. Um, and Josh can definitely rebound and hit the three, but he's not. He's not a power forward. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Um, all right. Any last words? Let me just get to this really quick. We play Toronto on Monday. Knicks 18-10. Toronto is 7-21. But again, like we just said, this is the NBA. On any given night,
That's right.
you can lose a game if you don't come correct. And Josh Hart spoke to that. He said, if you start thinking that a team is injured, their best player is out, chances are you're going to lose that game, right? Your approach is the same, regardless of who's on the floor. So they're 7-21. Scotty Barnes is back. Emmanuel Quickly is not. They're 23rd in offensive rating. They're 23rd in defensive rating. The Knicks are now 13th in defensive rating. Again, I wouldn't put. Anyway, the Knicks are 13th in defensive rating right now. But throw all the numbers out. You got to play the game, right? This just tells you what Toronto has been up to this point. Doesn't tell us anything about how they're going to play Monday. Right? It's at the Garden. I expect the Knicks to win, but again, can't take anything for granted. All right, Just Nicking It weekly show Thursdays, 9 p.m. We probably will go. I'm available Thursday, the day after.
We'll probably go Thursday because it's the day after Christmas, and we have a game, a matinee game on Christmas at noon. Oh, those noon games!
I know.
Whew.
I know. No, against Wemby in San Antonio should be a good one.
Should be a good
And then
one.
Queens Court Monday. Me, Jeff, Lady and the Chef from Two Knicks Chicks, Tony Kroll from Knicks and Bruises. We appreciate everybody watching. You're gonna get Adjae's last words, and we out of here.
The last word. Let's just keep it rolling, man. We have a chance to. I'm looking at the schedule. We have a chance to, to have a pretty good month. To the end of the month in December, even going into January. So the schedule is gonna get tougher. So we could rack them up now. We have San Antonio, Orlando, and 2 Wizards game to end the year. So I expect us to do well those remaining games, and then let's see where it takes us starting in how the new year start. But let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling. Everybody's healthy except for Mitchell Robinson. So let's keep racking them up as much as possible. And shout out to the chat, man. Early Sunday morning. Don't forget to hit the like button. The Knicks, we're tied for 6th best record in the league. So East and West with we tied with the Dallas Mavericks. So you're looking at it last year. We obviously have a better record than last year, even though we still want the team to do better and better and better. This is what we do as Knicks fans, but it's a good start. It's a very, very good start for us this season.
Yeah, and we really haven't hit our stride.
Yeah,
the defense is getting better, and offensively, I still think we can do a better job in terms of recognition. But it's cool. Yeah, we all right. Jarrell, appreciate you. Smash the likes. Jarrell, you need to drive out to Washington, D.C. for that Saturday game. I know you got a lot going on. Shout out to Knicks 100 at GM, David Elbaya, Josh, a.k.a. Uncle Fulio, was in the house. John McDonald, teams think they can double Brunson, but he burns you every time. This is the most unselfish team I've seen.
Look at Jarrell.
We'll get back to Jarrell. This is the most unselfish team I've seen in years. John McDonald, I'm not sure if this is your first time. If it is, welcome. If not, welcome back. Appreciate you. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification button, and now you can put that up again.
Oh, where is it?
For those of us, yeah. For those of us who want the Giants, who are Giant fans and want them to finish first or second so that we can get a quarterback. Next, Real Talk. Devon, appreciate you. You guys support the channel. Him and Shy Powers doing really, really good work. Pre-game, post-game. I've been actually searching for them and looking forward to the content you two are putting out. Devon, appreciate you. That's my brother. We both started on MBK, Nothing But Knicks. We both have our own channel, and the love is still strong. Happy holidays to you and your family. All right, Kerry Cox, I appreciate you. We got to get up, Kerry Cox. You in Valley Stream, we got to get up. Reese, appreciate you. Knicks 100 at GM, the art man formerly known as Steve, appreciate you. The super chat. Lionel Monis, can we say Josh Hart is the modern day John Starks? Yeah, kind of like a do-it-all player. I think Josh Hart, I mean, to me, Starks is more of a 3-and-D, more of a 3-and-D guy. But in terms of the heart and soul of a team, yes, I definitely would agree. And with that, building blocks, I appreciate you. I may miss some people. Mike Boy, Knicks, F Sin 6. Hope I got that right. Anyway, Paris Duggar, appreciate you. Enjoy the holidays, with your family. And we will see you guys
Thursday.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at?